Hello, I am Laura Crocus, and I'm on staff with Master Plan Ministries, and I'm the founder of missionalwomen.com. And I love teaching God's Word, and I'm super passionate about helping women live on mission for the glory of God. All right, there's tons of teaching and ministry resource videos that I upload weekly. We have online courses and other fun things at missionalwomen.com. I am a homeschooling mom of 6 kids. And I think that God did that just to remind me how much I need him and for him to show that his grace is sufficient in my life. My first 2 are adopted, and they have really incredible stories of God showing off, basically. And one of them is so inquisitive. I think God just has him. One of the many reasons he has him in my life is to show me how much I don't know. I mean, he asked me these questions like, how do you make a seed of broccoli? How big is a roly-poly's brain? How far can an eagle see? And will I have a beard in heaven? And if I shaved it, would it never come back? And he asked things like, taste buds are bumps, so do they have bumps? Can God make me a Ninja Turtle? And why don't we have 4 arms? And he says things like, turtles weren't at Jesus's birth, right? Because they were too slow. Or he says things to his little sister. Well, Eden, I'll tell you how you make a mountain. First, you have to be God, and then you say, let there be mountains. It's just the way that he thinks shows me that I really, really know so little. These questions are like, I don't know the answer to that. And like Uriah and like each of my other kids, our purpose is to glorify God. He gave each one of us, he built us with the story that he did for the purpose of showing the world what he is like. So in Isaiah 43:7, God says, everyone who is called by my name, whom I created for my glory, whom I formed and made. All right, and when we think about like God created us for his glory, sometimes people can think lots of different things. Maybe you're thinking like he created us for praising him or worshiping him. Sometimes that's synonymous with glory. But really, what glorify means in this context is to display a characteristic. Or another way of saying it is to know God and make him known. All right, to see God as he truly is and to reflect that to the world around us. So no matter what we do, whether we eat or drink, we could do all things for the glory of God, right? For the purpose of showing what God is like, because he created everything for his glory, to magnify his greatness, I guess you could say, or to put his truth and his goodness and his wisdom and his justice on display. Romans 11:36 says, for from him and through him and to him are all things, to whom be the glory forever and ever. Amen. Pretty cool. So our purpose is to glorify God. So often we live as though life were really all about us, about what I want, when I want it, what I desire, or what's easiest. And we bow to these idols of comfort and convenience or a host of other things. And then when we live as though life were about us, it really sucks the life out of us and out of others. And idols demand sacrifices, right? So if I'm living as though comfort is really my goal in life, rather than glorifying God, when I'm comfortable and somebody comes up and asks me to do something, I'm going to snap them. And then they are therefore the sacrifice that I'm making to the idol of comfort. So let me read Haggai 1:3, and then we'll go all the way through 14, actually 3 through 9, and then we'll pick up with 13 and 14 if you want to tune there. But the question is, if you knew something would bring the Lord pleasure, would you do it? 2 Chronicles 16:9 says, for the eyes of the Lord range to and fro throughout the whole earth to strengthen those whose hearts are fully committed to him. So God perhaps is saying to you in your time and energy and resources, that you've been concerned with your own pleasure and comfort rather than glorifying him. Because if we're not willing to work, to sweat, to sacrifice our pleasure, our resources for his glory, he's not going to show up. All right, so if we exist to glorify God, and that is really what's going to bring us the most fulfillment and satisfaction in life, how does that happen? All right, well, we are going to look at what does this really look like? Practically, how do I glorify God? All right, glorifying God is seeing and reflecting him to the world around us. All right, so it's like Psalms 139, 7-12, that talks about how huge and awesome and powerful and omniscient and omnipresent God is. All right, God is without end or limit. Without end or limit. All right. So really, let's think about this for a minute because it's really, really cool. On your paper, list every characteristic of God that you can think of, every attribute that you can think of. All right. So you might need to just pause this and just start jotting. Okay. Okay. Let me add some to your list that maybe are on there and maybe they aren't. Okay. He's creative. He's comforting. He's convicting. He's just. He's wooing. He's pursuer. He's the Lord of hosts, which means he's mighty. He's a mighty warrior, mighty to save. He is the revealer. He's a provider and a protector. He's a teacher, a leader. He's a father, a friend. He's faithful. He's good. He's giving. He's entrusting. All right, this list can go on and on and on, on and on, okay? If we spent our entire lives from when we were born, say we had this amazing ability to write, until the day we died, we would never come to the end of all there is to know about God, okay? Or for all eternity, if we spend thinking about and learning about the characteristics of God, we wouldn't get to the end of our list. Isn't that mind-blowing? God is limitless. But not only does he have a limitless number of amazing qualities about himself, each one of those are limitless. So let's just take one, he's good. He is good and he gives good things. All right. His goodness is never ending. We could learn about his goodness for our entire lives, for all of eternity, and never come to the end of learning all there is to know about his goodness. No matter what, it's not dependent on us. We will never be able to measure God's goodness. All right, his goodness is inexhaustible. It's unlimited, and he's never going to run out of it. It's not like I just already gave all my goodness to somebody else. There's no end to his goodness. Amazing that we never come to the end of who God is. There is something always more to learn about him. And that motivates me. It moves me to want to know him more. When you just get a glimpse of him and realizing that the aha moment of oh, you are so amazing, that we get to experience that forever and on and on and on. And what we believe about God, it affects everything about us. Our thoughts, our choices, our actions, our motivations, everything. And there's this, one of my favorite verses in Daniel 11:32 says, "But the people who know their God will display strength and will take action." All right, when we know what's true about God, it moves us, it stirs us to action, to walk by faith. All right, the people that God uses greatly are the ones that are most fulfilled, the ones who have a most intimate, passionate relationship with him because they know who he is, because they saturate themselves in his word, which shows us who he is. So our first priority is to show God's value by being satisfied in all that he is for us. So our talk, our relationships, our choices, our desires are all going to be shaped by a genuine delight in who God is. A.W. Tozer has this great quote. He says, "The low view of God entertained almost universally among Christians is the cause of 100 lesser evils everywhere among us. It is impossible to keep our moral practices sound and our inward attitudes right when our idea of God is erroneous or inadequate. If we would bring back spiritual power to our lives, we must begin to think of God more nearly as he is." Okay, I got to tell you some really cool stories. The first one. Okay, I like to get a different version of the Bible every time I get one, because then it keeps me out of the, oh yeah, I've read that, and glazing over certain verses. So I finally had narrowed it down. I'm in this Christian bookstore, and I figured out the translation I wanted. But now there's this whole wall of like how pretty they are, you know? I'm thinking, oh man, like which one? And I finally picked the one that I want to pick. And I reach up on the shelf and open, you know, they're in a box where you can see through the box. And I lift the cover off and I pull it out, and it's great. You know, I'm thinking, this is so awesome. But the crinkles weren't just right, you know? And so I thought, oh, this isn't right. This isn't the right one. So I put it back in the box. I put it up there. I scanned the entire wall because they're all of this new kind. And I see one in the very top corner. And I pull it down. And I'm thinking, oh, yes, this is it. And I pull off the lid, pull out the Bible. And there is a little slip of paper with my name on it. It says Laura, written in ink, capital letters, Laura, little piece of paper this big. I taped it into my other Bible, which I should have had here. Sorry. But how cool, right? How cool. I was just like, oh, there's my name. This one's for me. So I would love to know the story of how my name got into that Bible. None of the other ones had that. It wasn't like there was names popping up everywhere. It was my name. And in the box of the Bible I chose. God surely was leading somebody, and I'd love to know that story. I can't wait to heaven until I get to hear that story. Let me tell you another story.